Today on Mission Boating, our host, Captain George LaBonte, steps aboard the Savannah SS21, a hybrid skiff with a semi-V bottom hull designed to provide ample options for family fun on the water while ensuring ride comfort and stability. The Savannah SS21 has an overall length of 21 feet 4 inches, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and a max horsepower rating of 150. With a draft of 9 inches, a deadrise of 15 degrees, a loaded weight of 3,290 pounds, and a fuel capacity of 32 gallons, she can easily float across shallow flats and successfully tame chop in the bay. Equipped with a single Suzuki 150 4-stroke outboard, a full tank of fuel, and 2 people on board, she averaged a cruise speed of 26 knots at 4,200 RPM and a top speed of 35 knots at 5,600 RPM. Now, let's check in with our host to learn more about the Savannah SS21.
Hi, I'm George LaBonte, coming to you today from Stuart, Florida. I'm on the Savannah Boats SS21. This is a company that's out of Four Oaks, North Carolina, and they brought me a very unique boat that does a lot of things for a lot of different people. If you've got a lot of varied interests on the water, the SS21's got a little bit of something for everybody. Now, when I say the Savannah SS21 is unique, let me explain that a little further. My first impression of the boat when I walked up to her this morning on the dock was this boat looks like a utility skiff, kind of wide, flat bottom type of boat. And automatically the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of a boat like that is great stability, not a great ride. I imagine my teeth chattering and a hard chop, and that's just not the case with this model. What Savannah has done is incorporated the size and the dimensions of a boat like that utility skiff, but also softened the ride up by changing the bow angle on it and adding a few strakes on the bottom. So you've got the functional stability of one of those work boats with a nice ride to back it up. Now, a couple of other things that make it unique are the fact that those boats are very useful if you're carrying a lot of people. It's a good platform to put a bunch of people on, and you can load the boat up and go to a party cove and do stuff like that. And they've given you that functionality, but also they offer you a lot of fishability, very similar to that you'd find on a bay boat. So you're trying to kind of merge the bay boat and the utility boat together, and the SS21 is definitely hitting the mark there. Now, it's obvious to me when Savannah laid out the deck interior on this boat, they did it with a lot of forethought. I see a lot of useful space here for fishing, but at the same time, this converts nicely into an area to hang out with when you're out here beached up on the sandbar with your family. This large casting deck could easily have a beach towel spread out on it and your wife or girlfriend or your daughter laying out in the sun. The space back here, these 2 seats are very nice, and actually I was thinking these are removable seat backs. The seat backs can come out of there, but they're not really in the way when you're up here fishing. I'd probably leave them in there, but they do offer a really comfortable place to sit if you're here at the sandbar. Now, another benefit of this large foredeck here and the seating is the availability for storage space underneath, and there's sure plenty of it for everything that you probably need to bring on the boat. You could put under here. Also, behind me, you've got the seat that's in the shade with the nice padded seat back, which you can have rigged up as a live well on a fishing day, or you can fill it up with ice and drinks, and when you go to the sandbar, you've got plenty of options for keeping your food and drinks cold as well. Now, from a fishing standpoint back here in the cockpit, let's look at the layout and try and break down what we're dealing with. You've got a live well right here on this boat. You can put a live well underneath where I'm sitting, but more importantly, this fishing area, you can fish up on top of it. Right off the bat, I noticed this tow rig. It doesn't take up any more usable space than a poling platform on a flats boat would, but this offers you something to hold on to when you're standing back there if the boat's rocking. Also, you can lean up against it if you're getting tired. And Savannah offers an attachment that allows you to put a bunch of rod holders on it as well, in addition to the 4 that are on this rocket launcher. And you've got a great dual seat backs right here, nice diamond stitched, really good upholstery, and room for a few people to just hang out and talk. You might have somebody sitting at the rocket launcher leaning post back here, so it's a nice little social area. Now, if you are pulling the kiddos behind the boat on a tube, or if everybody just wants to get in the water and go for a swim, Savannah has incorporated a nice fiberglass integrated boarding platform with a stainless ladder that's a really tight little package back here that makes it easy to get off and on the boat, and you can actually use this handrail for assistance if you're reboarding the boat to boot. Now, a couple other points about the SS21 here that I'd like to bring to your attention are ergonomics-wise in the center of the boat. This is really important to me because I spend most of my day behind the wheel on a boat, and this console is actually a really nice size console, but more importantly, I like the elevation of it, I like the height, and I like the height of the steering wheel, but the amount of space behind the steering wheel really matters to me. I hate feeling like I'm jammed up against the steering wheel, which happens very often, and this boat's very comfortable to run. The SS21 does not ride like the utility skiff type of boat that I thought about when I first saw her this morning. It rides completely differently. It's a lot more stable, it's a lot more friendly in the chop, and it's a more solid boat. Now, another thing that the boat doesn't have in common with that utility skiff is finish. The finish work on this boat, at the price point it's coming in at especially, is exceptional. The boat is really clean, everything, there's not a lot of rough edges and hard stuff. The paint is beautiful, the non-skid is very nice, and it's just finished out nice. They've given you a lot of nice detail for the amount of money they're gonna charge for the boat. Now let's address that fact. This boat comes in at, let's say, $60,000 to $70,000 range for a boat motor trailer package, and that's a lot of boat for a young family starting out on their first boat. For an entry-level boat, there's a lot more than entry-level quality in this model. Now, as a final thought, I want to point out the size of the gunnel height and the freeboard on this SS21 here. You'll notice it's a little bit higher than on the average bay boat, but there's a reason for that. If you're the husband and wife with a couple of little kids, the interior 21-inch gunnel height here is going to give you a lot more security when you've got a couple of little ones running around on the inside of the boat, that you're not going to see somebody go overboard and unintentionally create a situation nobody wants to be in. To wrap it up here, you've got all the fishability of a bay boat and all the family functionality of a really nice sandbar day cruising boat, and it's a boat you can put a bunch of people on and go for a ride and get off of it and just soap it down and hose it real quick and be done, and the boat still looks beautiful. Now, whether you're that young family looking for a first boat to start out on or an old timer looking for their last boat, the Savannah SS21's got a lot to offer.
Mission Boating, the ultimate marine resource.